Hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to Perfect Pitch, second annual. Glad you're all here. How was your morning? Good? Great. We got a lot more to go. My name is Bisman. I'm one of the co-producers of Jazz Congress. Thanks for joining us for the third annual event here that Jazz Lincoln Center produces along with Jazz Times. Really glad you're all here with us. I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes setting up this session so everyone knows what's happening, and then we'll dive right in. So Perfect Pitch was a session we conceived last year when we were trying to think about, first of all, how to hear from more voices in the room and bring more knowledge, expertise, and creativity into these sessions, not have everything be entirely frontal, and also to bring some fun and gamification into the mix as well. And so to that end, this is something like Shark Tank, except it's really nice and it's intended to be totally educational. We have four very brave presenters who are each going to share a concept for a new video with us. And our esteemed panel of judges, who I will introduce in just a moment, will share some feedback and reactions. They may ask questions of the presenter. They may speak solely amongst one another. But again, our goal here and our hope is that we're learning both from the presenters and our panelists. And at the end, one presenter will be awarded a $1,000 cash prize, as well as some consulting with Jazz Lincoln Center's in-house video production team to support them in hopefully creating this video concept that they have. So let's meet our judges. I'm going to start to the far right. Lydia Cornett is a documentary filmmaker and freelance video producer for companies including The New Yorker, the Harmony Program, and Penguin Random House. Lydia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Michaela Watkins is Director of Digital Content and Development at New York City Ballet. Oh, Michaela Drapes. I'm so sorry. That's an actress. Can I just claim that I didn't sleep and there was a flood outside? I'm not going to go there. I apologize, Michaela Drapes. Michaela Drapes, Director of Digital Content and Development from New York City Ballet. Don't trust me, trust the app. Bios are in the app. Michaela oversees the website, both front end and back end, social media, email marketing, and content strategy at New York City Ballet. And if you've ever seen any videos or the content that the ballet puts out, you'll know why she's up here with us, and we're really grateful. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Adam Meeks is someone I'm lucky to work with every day. He's the video producer here at Jazz at Lincoln Center. He helped put this session together, and I don't have his full bio in front of me, and now I feel bad. But again, it's in the app, and Adam also is a filmmaker, as well as the work he does here, and he's an amazing guy, and we're really, really glad to have him here.
Thanks.
Okay, so presenters have 7 minutes to speak, and then we'll get responses for a couple minutes, and we'll go back and forth like that. So first up, I'd like to invite Svetlana Shmuly. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Stop the clock. I forgot the really important part. How are decisions being made? Let me just say a word about that. So we've asked the judges to consider 3 areas: creativity, effectiveness, in terms of effectiveness of the video related to the goal that the presenter will outline for us, and feasibility, if we feel the video truly can be made in the way conceptualized. So it is not it's not a willy-nilly voting system, but actually we've developed this sort of light rubric for our judges to consider. Just an important thing to name. Svetlana.
It's like a Shark Tank.
No, it's not. It's nice, Shark Tank. But please make sure you use the mic.
I was hoping not to. Can you guys hear me?
We need it for the recording posterity.
Oh, damn it. Okay, working for the man. Got it. No problem. Okay. Can you hear me? All right. Well, let's go. My name is Svetlana, and I want to welcome you to my world. In the moonlight, when the shadows play, when the thought of what could happen takes your breath away. All right, Moonlight, what you're seeing is a video, the first video that was just premiered today on Pop Matters for my album that came out in the fall called Night at the Movies, where I'm connecting the visual and the sonic expressions of the movie genre. The idea behind many songs and behind the videos that I wanted to build is dreaming, both being enamored by the night and its mysteries, but also dreaming as an overcoming, wishing something for yourself and building a road to fruition. So I wanted to pick the three most dreamy songs on the record: Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Moonlight, which is the video you just saw from the movie Sabrina from the 90s, and Remember Me from the movie Coco, and create kind of a trifecta or trilogy of videos working with the same team. Photography is done by Shervin Lanes, and my partner in animation is Anomi Ek. And to really try and create kind of my own movie, if you will, bring my history and my story, my point of view, to this magical world that I'm trying to depict. So my audiences are primary, which suspiciously looks like Amazon Prime font. I didn't do it. And secondary, your presenters. I want to engage presenters in a different way. They have my videos, of me performing, but I want them to see the inside of what I'm doing with my art. The online audiences, people who see us online and hopefully experience art this way. Concert audiences, I'm hoping, and I have started using the mock-ups of those videos as visual projections while I perform. And then online media, magazines like Pop Matters and others who would hopefully enjoy the videos and want to premiere and put it online. And I know my partner wants to send it to film festivals, like those little openings, animation openings for feature films. And again, the idea and the goal overall is to energize my audiences, to engage them with my art, and to continue to express the concept for this album, for the music that I put out. So the first movie, just to give you an idea of my process and how I worked with my animator, we got together and we started brainstorming different ideas for that particular song, Moonlight. The song and the movie is about dreaming. I wanted to bring New York-centric images, talking about the mystery of the night, kind of the flying over the city, and imagining myself a little bit like a superhero. So that video that is now accessible on Pop Matters as of this morning, it's a really strange coincidence, has all this imagery. So taking that style, the next song, that's the work in progress now, Pure Imagination. You can see a little beginning of a video we started to create until I ran out of money. So here it is. Can we cue up the video? Come with me and you'll be in the world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. So kind of taking the light song and imagining a darker world from which it comes, kind of thinking Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland and Willy Wonka, but giving it a spin and kind of a hopeful idea, going back to the dreaminess that is part of the same album. And then the last video in the trifecta is a modern song from Remember Me from movie Coco. Again, going back to the idea of an album which is connecting decades of the cinematic arts, and thinking a little bit more about memories and personal journey, death, but not as end all, but the memories of the loved ones. Thinking of myself as an immigrant, things that I left behind, but I still have with me and that are present in my art. Vintage objects, suitcases, packing your whole life and departing, childhood photographs and memories. And that's, again, something we started working on with here. Go ahead. Remember me, Though I have to say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry. Forever if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me. So basically, we just need the funding to finish this project. Me and Anomi, we have worked over several years together on different things, but the main parts of spending really is her animator fee, and it's really a buddy fee. It's not what it usually costs out there on the street, but she can commit to complete those 2 videos, Pure Imagination and Remember Me. It's music licensing, mechanical rights are all paid in the album, but the sync rights, my experience, can range from 0 to infinity. It depends on the copyright owner, and some PR fee for placing it. So in sum, again, the idea for me is to continue creating the visual art to communicate the idea behind the album, which is dreaming, again, both in loving the night and being mystified by the night, and also getting your life in a better place and continuing to energize and engage my audiences and express my art. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Svetlana.
Thank you.
I think that last one you showed is really cool. I think it's really interesting to incorporate these personal artifacts into a kind of animation, visual effects driven thing that's accessible but also personal. Mm-hmm. I know how expensive this kind of work is, and I wonder how feasible it is. I mean, you would know better than me, and you're working with an animator, but I'd wonder how doable these are on a full-length scale within the small budget still, personally.
Yeah. I mean, we were able to complete the first video within that frame, and it's like all things, they cost based on a long relationship, and I will have, for example, for my live performances, I have already used the Moonlight that's been sitting in the suitcase for a long time, and needed to pay more for the live projection for the video because it was longer. But I think those fees are within what I'm comfortable offering her, and I think we'll get this work done.
Cool. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would just say, one thing creatively just to think about is it seemed from the clips that I saw of both of them, there's a kind of a uniformity to the pace in all of them, and I would wonder if the dynamics of the song can also be a bit more interpreted visually.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
So that's where I think we've spent more time on the first video, Moonlight. I wanted to release it when the album was released, or at least start close to that time. We do need both the brainstorming. I built in some food and transportation for us to sit down and think more about it. But yes, I want distinct products that are going to differ from each other, have slightly different pace and more uniqueness to it. So they definitely need work, yes.
Cool. Great job, though.
Thank you.
The visual unity of your concepts is really great, and I think they all reflect the songs and your vocal stylings really well. I think, to Adam's point, my only comment was kind of like the varying up the pacing and the sort of like pacing of the visual, but obviously these were just rough drafts, so I think they're both moving in a really interesting direction, and that cohesiveness I think is really important to sort of establishing the concept that you have, and I think you've done a really good job of that. I did kind of sort of perk up a little bit at the idea of the cost of the sync rights. I know how much that can be, so I hope that you're right and that it's not too expensive.
Right.
But that is something that we often struggle with too in the cost of our videos. But overall, I think you have some really strong work here that has a lot of potential.
Yeah, one thing I have to say, I dealt with sync rights on a couple of the videos, and if you're lucky that a particular company owns the copyright, sometimes they allow you, in exchange to collecting all ad revenue from your video, to have the worldwide release without paying a sync fee. So that's why I said it varies from 0 to infinity. But it can also be that you are dealing with someone who is going to say $5,000 and...
Yeah.
Is that your experience?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Sometimes people are super cool and want to work with you, and sometimes they just want the money.
Yes.
I also wanted to compliment your visual style, and I think you really have a clear sort of aesthetic direction that you're showing us, and I really enjoyed the juxtaposition of seeing those cinematic worlds with then seeing you performing. There's something about going between those worlds that I think is really compelling. And I was just curious about sort of the distribution of these videos and both the length and the platforms you're looking at, if you're thinking more of like certain social media sites and how those will play into, you know, which sections of the songs you're thinking about including.
Thank you. So that's exactly what's on my mind this morning, because in a crazy coincidence, the first video was premiered today at Pop Matters, which is the only video that is ready. First thing I did, the song on the recording is 6.5 minutes. So for the video, both for the animator fee and also for what I think people can take on YouTube, I have actually made a different track, or I made a shorter version that is a compelling full-length song, but it's 4 minutes. Now, what is on my mind is whether to use social media and upload the full-length, because that's what I'm starting to see now, as opposed to people directing everyone to, you know, YouTube exclusively. Uploaded on Instagram as a full-length video and then have a snippet as a post. I'm leaning more towards that, even just as an experiment. You know, I will send out, I have a newsletter of, you know, a few thousand people. I will probably direct people to YouTube there, and also to the article, which, you know, had some nice things to say, but on Facebook and Instagram, I think I'll post full-length videos and not direct people to YouTube from there.
I just want to chime in and say that's a good strategy, as Facebook is privileging videos longer than 3 minutes on both Facebook feed and Instagram feed at the moment. If you have a page as opposed to a personal feed, right? So you should be looking at videos that are longer than 3 minutes when you push them out.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wanted to experiment and see. I mean, there's really very little to lose, you know, to see, because I have not done that in the past. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Svetlana Shmuly, and again, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna bring up Herb Scott next. I'm just curious, by a show of hands, how many people in the room are familiar with sync rights, with the term and what it means? So that's maybe half, so I'll just share. So sync rights are legally required rights that you need to obtain from the music publisher, which the publishing rights begin with the songwriter, but the songwriter could have sold them to someone else. So the company that is the publisher has to give permission anytime video is synced to audio. So if you're using music, even if you performed the music, if you are not the music publisher, you need the publisher's permission. We're real big on sync rights here, so I'm glad it's already coming up. It's a good thing to know about. All right, Herb. All right.
Make it to the top any way I know, even if that means rapping with my saxophone. Ain't making no bread at these jazz shows, so I started rapping just to increase my cash flow. I make it happen with my sax like Satchmo, and my flow is red hotter than Tabasco. I need more than 2 bills before I pass go. I capitalize on every gig, no Castro. And we don't take requests, so don't ask, show. We keep the fresh, it's gonna be different than that last show. Check my rhymes and my beats and my skills, yo. You wanna find me, you can catch me at the jazz show. At the jazz show, catch me at the jazz show. At the jazz show, catch me at the jazz show. At the jazz show, catch me at the jazz show. You wanna find me, you can catch me at the jazz show. All right, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Herb Scott, and welcome to the Jazz Show. Thank you. So let me move ahead here. So a little bit about this song. The Jazz Show is a rap song for jazz musicians, jazz lovers, hip-hop and popular music fans. And the concept for this video is that it parallels the lyrics. And the lyrics for this song are essentially about the low pay for gigs as jazz musicians, the overly competitive nature of students in the jazz industry, and then the other end is the how the pressure to make your music or your sound or your presentation amenable to music critics and those sort of people there. And the image of this video that I'm looking to develop, this is just a trailer that I shot with my iPhone last year. I released this song last year, and the hope and the idea was that I would release a music video that would push this song out there, that this song is an anthem for jazz musicians, for popular music fans. And the idea for this song is that we as jazz musicians, and I'll read a little bit from the elevator pitch, we as jazz musicians have been protesting the low pay of gigs, the overly competitive jazz students, and that this video, the concept for this video would be one of jazz musicians in kind of that old mafia setting to make this music, this song, a little bit more compelling for the virality of it. The goals for this song is that I'm looking for this to set off my other jazz rap related projects. That in today's market, it's not enough to just release one song or one video, but that your content that is regularly being produced in combination with a video, with the song, is what will compel people to listen, to share, and to get that information out there. And so I think that's one kind of important element that is missing from the jazz community, is that we kind of put all this energy into one large project, and then we may make a video or something, and then we stop right there. And there's no other media for people to engage with you on. You just have your project, and maybe a long video, or maybe a straight ahead jazz record, and then it doesn't go anywhere. Meanwhile, we have the rap music, hip hop music industry that are making millions of dollars off of the virality of their music, of their videos, of their concept. The target audience for this video or this song is the 18 to 35 year age range, which all of you all fit in that category here today. And the idea between of that being that focus group is that tends to be the demographic that moves the needle when it comes to the success of a popular song or video. And my strategy for getting this song out there, not merely just putting it on YouTube or Instagram or just telling a few friends, the idea with this song is to shoot at as many locations as possible, as many jazz clubs where I can perform, and there you have the buy-in of the musicians, of the audience members right there to turn around and want to see themselves in the video. And so that idea, in combination with the anthem of the song, that it's a Catch Me at the Jazz Show, I need more than $100, I need more than $200 to do a gig, that will propel the success of this song. Make sure. In terms of budget, so the thing about this is I shot the first scene of this video last year. I shot the trailer with my iPhone just to have something to get out there. And a lot of people turned around to me and were like, wow, I like your video. I'm like, that's just the trailer. Wait till you see the real thing. The problem is, of course, we don't have a lot of money as musicians and whatnot, and so this would be a great opportunity to finish that video. I did also get the buddy rate for the videography part. So that that decreases the budget tremendously. There's not the most that's needed for this song in terms of budget outside of the editing and shooting part is just really going around to different locations. So there's not a whole lot. I'm not using crazy effects yet, or that type of thing. But I think that for what is called for this video, that is not necessarily. So in terms of feasibility, I would believe that this video being produced would be completely feasible with the budget that I have set, considering the concept. Let's see what I have here. Make sure. Oh, and then the last piece here. Could you guys run that? One thing that's good about having a video, if you're having a rap song, is to have a lyric trailer so people can see the lyrics on the video. I'm trying to make it to the top any way I know, even if that means rapping with my saxophone. Ain't making no bread at these jazz shows, so I started rapping just to increase my cash flow. I make it happen with my sax like Satchmo, and my flow is red hotter than Tabasco. I need more than 2 bills before I pass go. I capitalize on every gig, no Castro. And we don't take requests, so don't ask, show. We keep the fresh, it's gonna be different than that last show. Check my rhymes and my beats and my skills, yo. You wanna find me, you can catch me at the jazz show. At the jazz show, catch me at the jazz show. At the jazz show. That's when it was released last year. At the jazz show, catch me at the jazz show. You wanna find me, you can catch me at the jazz show. That's it.
Thanks, Herb.
You guys want to start?
How many locations were you thinking to get for $500? To get you to 500 with $500?
Well, most of the places that get the gigs, I would have booked. So I would just book the gigs. So I would actually get more money from actually doing the locations. And so that I just picked like literally jazz clubs that I do gigs at.
Okay,
And invite my friends out and we come on and sing along at the jazz show.
great. I just was curious. I don't know your schedule. So.
Got you.
I'm curious about some of the other sort of visual ideas that you have for including other musicians, including these clubs that sort of are ways of including the community in the song, and just how you plan for those to be like interplayed in what we saw so far.
Well, part of the concept that I had discussed was, there's a storyline within the song, and to kind of do both. So you have B-roll of locations, iconic locations, Blues Alley or Dizzy's or whatever. But then you also have the storyline being followed with the jazz musician finishing the gig. Here's your $100. You're like, what am I supposed to do with this? I've already spent this money already. And then you rap, and you're rapping at the audience. You're rapping at the club owner. So that kind of, those two parallels right there.
Okay, cool.
I was curious about. I mean, for me, I like the song, and I think it's like an interesting broad concept. But I was sort of craving some more specificity. I think that's maybe what Lydia was getting at, just in terms of like what you're specifically, the story that you're specifically trying to tell visually, and what that's going to look like, sort of, shot to shot.
Sure. So that was kind of expressed in my elevator pitch, which I kind of veered away from a little bit. But essentially, it was the kind of the same idea. I did mention that kind of mafia, kind of '90s era, kind of visual component of the toughness of having to be yourself, and you have this looming, figure or thing you have to bypass or, to overcome. And so that's what the mafia kind of vibe would represent in the video. But the idea essentially for the video is that it is a current representation of the music industry with jazz as the background, but also with the element of rap. So as that will be rolled out with the actual execution of the video, that will be refined during the process. Nonetheless, the most important part of this video, I see, in order to get these videos out so people will watch them, is that you include as many people as possible, but you're not having a fixed frame. Every 2 or 3 seconds, there needs to be another shot. You have to keep pulling people in. And so part of that visual for me was the locations that I felt would be more resonating, because we all know what the Capitol looks like. We all know what a jazz club looks like. We all know. And so, that in combination with the story that's set in the lyrics,
we'll find a middle ground there. That's kind of the idea.
Great. Herb Scott, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
I'm just going to take moderator's prerogative and make one other comment. I personally am a sucker for lyric videos, but we are obsessive here at Jazz Lincoln Center with the first 6 seconds of the video, right? And it's something when I first came in, we had intros that were over a minute long. I've got some of my Jazz Night in America colleagues sitting here, and we've had similar conversations, and at NPR Music, they've done some really great tests. The first 3 seconds of your video really, really matter if you're talking about a social platform, right? So within 6 seconds, 50% of people have already stopped watching, at least on Facebook, and that is probably inevitable, but the question is, how do you keep the 50% that are with you for even 3 to 6 seconds? And so something like that lyric video, like, that is a moment where you might consider editing the intro, right? Because what's great about a lyric video is the constant motion of the text, right? And having to wait, seeing something static. For me, if something is static for more than 2 seconds, I want it to change. And on the one hand, we're playing into some base instincts of a need for constant activity. And on the other, we're living in a world of data that tells us it is what it is. And so just some food for thought for everybody posting videos on Facebook. Next up, Joanne Jacoby.
Hello. I'm in that demographic that Herb just said, between the age group of 18 to 35-year-olds. Shoot, my kids are even older than that. My name is Joanne Jacoby. I'm an artist out of Wilmington, Delaware, originally from West Philly. And my video and you'll find I have a perfunctory knowledge of PowerPoint, so I'll do the best I can. I won't be as extensive as theirs. My video concept, okay. My video concept, I won't be actually verbalizing this, but it's just basically a concept. What I'd like to see is a recording session, a video concept of recording sessions of us, my band, or the musicians I choose, along the same lines as all the bands I've seen in the videos. You've seen audience participation, you've seen a group of people laughing, enjoying themselves in the videos. And this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to do a video like that also with some musicians that I've had, because it's something, one thing I look at, some of the things I look at some of the things that interest me. What interests me is looking at certain videos like this. When you see videos on YouTube or some other platforms, you see the bands playing, you see the audience engagement and interaction. So this is one thing that really interests me, and this is what I'd like to do too. This is pretty much my concept. My goals. Now my goals are, the purpose of this video would be bring awareness to my brand, promote our yet to be released CD and downloads, to be recognized as value in the eyes of vendors, booking agents, and the booked and perform in festivals and venues. Build more of an online presence with my via my media, social media, and showing up the enjoyment and the fun we have engaged with our subscribers. That means a lot to me, because it's like infectious. Like once people see you having a good time, other people might want to have a good time with you also. My audiences and who my, I might have erased something, but anyway, my fans, with the type of music that I do, my music is pretty much, my music is all original, so I don't have any sync rights that I'll have to worry about or something like that later on. And the people who I associate with, out of some of the people, George Duke, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Weather Report, Steely Dan, and Jamiroquai. I put an age group of 25 plus. Maybe a little bit ambitious, but I see some young children. I mean, I shouldn't say young children. I do see some younger audience come to my shows, and then reach me at the end of the show and tell me how much they like the music, because it's all original. What did I say? Oh, I'm college educated. I said I'm college with some education. I don't want to limit it to everybody, limit it just to people with a certain educational background, but there seems to be a certain, from my analyzation up until this point, it seems that's where my audience is coming from. And what are the needs that it says? What are the needs for the audience? It's amusement, entertaining, inspirational, engagement, vicariously experienced through the video audience, and a reason to buy into the journey of our band. Me being a senior citizen, had a career before I came here, before music. I mean, I also used to teach music years ago, but I have, this is like after retiring from mass transit for 33 years. I used to work in mass transit in Philadelphia after I taught school. And since after I've come out of mass transit, I've gone back to music, and I'm doing some of the things I love to do. So I just like to carry that on. Now, I don't have any videos of my particular band for this particular concert. I do have videos, but the videos that I have for my band wouldn't represent the type of concept that I want to do for this particular video. But some of the videos as examples are, the top ones, the first three are Snarky Puppy. I love Snarky Puppy. I love Snarky Puppy's music, and I love their concepts, and I love the vibe that they have in the studio. There's the group, the three on the bottom is a group out of France called D'Amico. They also have great music, and I love some of their participation. I mean, if you can just, I left links, but I'm sorry. Like I said, I have a limited knowledge of PowerPoint, so this is about as far as I can get with it. But if you look, the groups called Snarky Puppy and D'Amico, they have other groups that give an example of type of video that I'd like to do also. But if you can watch their engagement, watch the audience's expression, watch how happy they are, watch the band interaction and some of the things in it, those are things that just interest me, and I like to carry that on and bring that over to my side also. Now the budget. Yeah, I should have put a little bit more in there. But my budget is primarily going to cost mostly for the musicians. I've had some experience of doing videos, and the musicians base what I say because I know what I like to pay to the musicians who play with me. And so that's why you'll see a greater amount at the top, $1,500. Let's say that's because I want to use about 7 musicians. That comes about $215 for the session for the musicians. And the next one would be, I didn't put any like camera, lighting, sound equipment there because that basically from my experience and doing videos before, that's usually incurred in the cost of the video production itself. They take care of all that. I mean, that's incorporated, that's what the price is right there. So that's why I didn't itemize that right there. And what am I doing? Oh, editing expenses. So I just put basically everything down into what a location would be the studio, the recording studio itself. And that's the price right there, what I would have to pay for like 6 hours. And the editing would be the rest of the bulking, the shooting and the editing of the picture, of the video itself is what would incur the rest of the cost and bring it up to about $3,000. That would be wishful thinking if it comes to $3,000, but that's basically what I came up with. And I guess public speaking is not my forte, but that's the best I can do right now. So that's based on my concept. My concept is I just want to engage people. I want to engage people. Somebody see that a senior group or audience, a senior group or senior people can still do it. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to comment, you mentioned that audience engagement is sort of your biggest priority, and I really loved in the reference videos how there's, the audience is integrated into this space. There's not this division between performer and musician, and I was curious if you had other ideas for how to engage your audience in a way that translates through video.
You mean behind the video concept or something, how to engage them?
Yeah, or just methods in the production besides just playing really great music and having an enthusiastic audience.
I think one thing would, to piggyback on it, maybe have a little dialogue before the audience, engage the audience, like almost like not a mini documentary or something, let they speak to them, have the audience speak about what they like about the band, what brought you to the studio, or engage them, find out some of the reasons why they actually came to the session, what interests them. That would give an audience engagement, but that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like the simplicity of your approach, and I don't think it's actually crazy to say that you could make this for $3,000. I just think that the budget to me looks a little bit imbalanced in terms of how you would accomplish that. But I don't think it's far-fetched at all to do that, and it's nice to see like a sort of modest approach with like putting the music and the performers first. I think that just in terms of budget, there's some things that I would question. Like, I think that you're right in putting the majority of the money to your musicians and people on screen. I think that like the rest of that money would likely essentially go towards like camera and production costs.
Yes.
And I don't know if that would like fit within like a one rate thing typically with editing with all these things. So I would as you're going towards producing one of these, I would like sort of break down a bit more specifically the rest of the money that you have and how you allocate it and the kinds of cameras that you would use and sort of the number of cameras, the more the specifics of how you'll end up accomplishing this. And then a lot of that's going to go towards camera and equipment, I think.
Yes.
But overall, yeah, I think it's like a really simple, compelling piece.
What reason I did it because I've gone to video editors, they just give me one package price. And I don't get into the details. They say editing, shooting, and this is one price, and that's what I just basically did.
I think I also really like the simplicity of your concept. I think if anybody's seen the wildly popular Tiny Desk videos from NPR, it just proves the point that this kind of idea is a really strong way to show your strength as a musician and your abilities to engage with the people that you're playing for. So I think it's a really lovely concept, and I don't doubt that the costs are included in whatever people you would be working with, but I do think just having a realistic idea going into your shoot of how much it's really going to cost and how those costs are going to break down is valuable. Even getting that information from them, if they don't really tell you, then you should know. And I think even like the most simple editing that could go into it could just make it all that more compelling. So
Yes.
it's a really great concept.
Thank you.
Great. Joanne Zacobi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our fourth and final presenter is Jaime Baum.
Thank you. My name is Jaime Baum, and I'm a flutist and composer. And I'm kind of excited about this because all my videos have really been performance videos, hiring somebody to take footage at a festival so that I can post it. And I've had septet for many years, and I started a newer band a few years ago, and so it's a little bit conceptual, and so the idea of really taking a next step with the video and adding more of a conceptual idea to it is exciting to me, and I've already learned a lot from watching everybody. So, but my elevator pitch is I have this band that I started called Short Stories about 5 years ago, and we're going to be recording our first CD this spring after we do a festival tour. And the name of it is going to be Short Stories of Struggles and Triumphs. And Short Stories is a unique band. It's the instrumentation is very different. I play flute and alto flute. I have Gregor Murray on harmonica, and he also has electronics, as do I. Andy Milne on piano, Joe Martin on bass, Jeff Hirschfield on drums, and I add some people which will also be on the recording. Mark Shim, who plays Iwi and sax, and sometimes guitar with David Gilmour. And so I want to make a video to promote the new recording, to promote the band, give a visual idea of it, and also to convey the concept behind the music and the band sound, which we've really developed, having played for about 5 years now. And the concept is behind Struggles and Triumphs is that I've written compositions that pay tribute to people that have influenced me or influenced other people and have had an impact in a really positive way. So that, they've dealt with either issues related to gender or racism or health or political discrimination, but really affected their situation and other people's situation in a positive way. So I've written most of the music already, and some of the pieces, for example, were dedicated or influenced by Miles Davis, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Gloria Steinem, people like that have really had an effect on me, and that I'm trying to communicate that through the pieces that I write and the way that we play them. And so while it will be promotional for the recording and the band, it's, as I said, I've done all my videos, which were just us playing. And so now I really wanted to have somewhat of a narrative aspect, showing some images that maybe be literal or symbolic that will connect the compositions with the music and with that person. Included footage will be stuff that we've already videoed from performances, recording video taken when we do the recording, and also perhaps a montage or some other images, as I said, to give that idea of the pieces that, the people that I'm paying tribute to. And the collaborators will include the band members, of course, a producer, director, someone who will help me with that imagery to make that come to life, and then the videographer who I've worked with who has some really great ideas. So next is the goals. And of course, it's to promote the CD and share the story, the concept of the music with my audience, and then use it to for promoters and talent buyers that are interested in seeing the band or hearing what we do and what the concept is, to promote excuse me, upcoming performances, both in general and specific to CD release performances, to build an online audience or more of one through posting it on social media, and then also to post it on my website. The audiences that I'm trying to target are fans that already follow me, fans, audience, promoters, and talent buyers that probably know me more specifically through my larger group, the Jaime Baum Septet, which I've had for about 20 years. And this band is a smaller band and short stories, and really has a totally different style, totally different music, totally different direction. And so, trying to tour with 8 people is always a challenge, and a lot of times promoters have asked me if I have a smaller group, and so this is really different, and so I think it would be helpful in people getting to know another side of me and what I do. And then also there are a lot of fans of the guys in my band, so I'm sure that will help introduce this band. And then what needs does my video meet for them? And as I said, to introduce them to the band and the new concept. And also, as I said, the instrumentation is really unique. We have harmonica with electronics, flute, alto flute with electronics. We played at Winter Jazz Fest the other night with Mark Shim, and he's playing iwi and saxophone. So it really has a different visual component to it, as well as a very different sound. Just a quick aside, about 10 years ago when they used to have the Jazz Times Convention, or IAJE, I went to hear Andy play duo with Gregor Mare, and I remember hearing them thinking, oh God, I just think harmonica and flute would be a really interesting sound. So getting to play with both of them is really kind of unique. So the next thing is reference images. And so, we haven't recorded and we haven't done any videos, but I wanted to show you a very short promotional video of the last thing that I did for my last CD called Bridges with My Septet. And it's with the videographer who I'm going to be using to do the video with short stories. So if you could start that. And so this is just a photo of my band Short Stories to give you an idea. And then the next one, I guess I could move that. It seemed like there were some questions asked about some pictures or images that sort of give an idea. And I really just posted some of these things that I really like that give kind of some imagery and some ephemeral ideas of communicating some, writing music compositions that are attributed to people that influenced you. You know, there's so many reasons why, and there's so many ways of expressing that through the music. And so, trying to find images that sort of connect with the music is important to me. And so I just picked some things that I found interesting. And then the last thing is the budget. I spoke with the woman who did the other video, and we sort of mapped out a budget. And since we don't need money for, we already have a video of performances, it's really going to be her coming to the recording session and videoing that, taking some interviews. And then more of the money, I think, will be really spent on the editing process and having the producer help me really choose things that are really going to convey what I'm going for, and sort of in a more processed way. And I haven't really picked the pieces that I'm going to use. I think I'm going to wait until we get the video footage from the recording session and really try to pick one or two things that'll really convey the concept, and then take it from there, and then combine it with an interview and some of the other footage that we have. So that's it.
It seems like the majority of the performance footage itself is all sort of built in pretty organically. I think the big question mark for me is like in the way that you're going to represent these famous figures in your video and pay tribute to them without confronting the reality of like crazy photo licensing fees and image likeness issues and stuff like that. And so I was wondering, like, more specifically, if you had a sense of how you wanted to be integrating some of these people, and who specifically, into one video.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been looking at a lot of videos, actually. One that sort of I've been intrigued by lately is Esperanza Spalding's 12 Little Spells. I don't know if you've seen it, but she had a video done of each piece that was sort of, and it was very conceptual as well, because I don't know if you're familiar with that recording, but each piece relates to a part of the body, and so there's a lot of conception and imagery there. And so, I think, like I said, I don't want to, we're recording after we were playing the DC Jazz Festival in June and doing some other gigs around that, and then we're going to come back and record. And so I want to sort of wait till I see between the video that we get and how the pieces come and how to put all together who I would choose. But, it's some of the, some of it will be sort of more, I was sort of thinking like images of perhaps like a demonstration, or perhaps it doesn't have to be that clear, but that would give a sense of, I'm not looking for like a really specific thing, like, oh, this is a picture of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's sort of more, because it's really more about what they exemplify, or like the piece that I wrote for her, it's actually something I got inspired by from doing some gigs with Louis Cole. I don't know if you know his music, but it's really almost more a rock thing, and just the driving, and and here she's back after her like 5th bout of cancer or something. Please stay, But it's just more about the feeling, and I think that people will, by the name of the tune, if I can give that kind of thing as well. And all the music is written by me, so I don't have any to deal with anything in terms of mechanical rights. And some of the people I know, like I know Gloria Steinem, and I know some of the other people, so I think I'll be able to, and it's not, as I said, I'm kind of new to taking a leap into a more produced kind of thing, and so I'm looking for probably this last one you said was like 40 seconds or something, but I'm looking for something maybe 3 or 4 minutes that, I can use, and so, and I'm going to be using a lot of the footage already, so I think it'll fit within the budget. It's more the production side of things, of doing what you're talking about, really finding a way to really connect that I have to get more clear on as I get there.
Thanks.
But thank you.
I just wanted to compliment your budget. I thought it was very wise to not only allocate for crew, but for camera costs, which a lot of people forget, and then also to allocate the most of the funds on editing, because it does seem like, with the description you just gave, if you're kind of searching for a more metaphorical way of portraying and designing these tributes, a lot of that's going to come through the edit. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I had a long discussion with the videographer, and so that was helpful to get a little bit more realistic.
I also think that the sort of conceptual concept is, that was a little repetitive. Visualizing these things in a non-specific way is a really interesting idea. I just wonder how you plan to allocate enough time for each in the video to convey each piece without it being sort of disjointed. So I'm wondering if you need maybe, I know it sounds like from the concept of your band and this album that framework is there, but I think the only thing I would say is to encourage you not only to think of maybe putting that kind of framework in the video, but then also to having like a sort of concept for each piece, that if you wanted to cut out each moment and like repurpose those pieces on social media, if you were going to invest in advertising, for instance, on social media, you could use a 30-second snippet instead of the full video if you went that route. So thinking about, as you produce your video, to sort of make additional assets out of it that you could use in other ways, because I think this concept in particular lends itself well to doing something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a really great idea. I sort of thought about that, and certainly for the one main video, I wouldn't try to do a lot of, I'd probably pick maybe a couple of things that could be representative. And the reason why I didn't want to define that now is because I kind of want to see how it comes out and what seems like would be the most effective or clear, in the short amount of time. But actually, having that approach would be really worth having the extra footage and maybe putting something out, at different times, short snips like that on each piece. So that's a great idea. Thank you.
Jaime Baum, thank you very much. I'm gonna sidebar with our judges for 1 second. Okay, great. I'm going to dismiss our judges for a couple of minutes. And Adam, why don't we just take everybody backstage there? Cool. And I'm going to invite up Svetlana, Herb, Joanne, and Jamie. Grab their seats. And if any of you have questions or comments for any of our presenters, or just want to laud them for their bravery in doing this crazy project with us, we'll all chat for a couple of minutes. And if you don't have questions, don't worry, I will. Yeah, come on up. That way, and if you do have a question, please come grab the mic. Yeah, we can give them another round of applause. Any questions, comments? If you haven't, so I'm just going to ask if you don't mind coming up here to the mic, because, and this is just good to know, we record all the sessions here at Jazz Congress. So in this room and the Appel room, everything is, we take video and publish those videos later. In Noble and Dizzy's, there's audio recordings that get published later on the Jazz Congress podcast. So if you are ever unable to split yourself and be in two places at once, know that you can catch that session later, but it is important to us to have Q&As on the mic. And will you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Vince Ector. I'm a drummer, composer. The question is for, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Herb. So what gave you this original concept? Because your video really spoke to me. My youngest daughter is an alto saxophonist, and she wants to study music professionally, perform professionally rather, and she's going to go to college soon. And what she does is she can play jazz. She's very well versed, but she's also into hip hop, and she makes beats for her friends and she sells them. So when your video came on, it immediately grabbed me because I saw a connection to what she's doing and what you're doing. What are your plans moving forward with this after the video? I mean, do you see the combination of, putting hip hop in your compositions and really trying to reach that demographic moving forward? Can you just elaborate a little bit, and where can we find more information about you?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, the song actually I made it on my iPhone in my room. I was frustrated with the pay on the gigs, and and then I started performing the song regularly for crowds, not with that same beat. And I watched the response that I got, and people really enjoyed. It reached them. So then I went and released the song. The plans are, once I released the song and I saw how the concept kind of could work, I wrote some other songs. So I have some other songs that I actually recorded that track here in New York last year around this time, and I'm hoping to do something while I'm here for Jazz Congress. But essentially, I'm a young person who came up with jazz and rap and hip hop and both those styles there, and I wanted to use that platform to address social issues or whatever issues, with my words, as opposed to just an instrumental piece there. So I do see that as a potential concept that I'm hoping that will catch on, is the idea. And if you want to check out the song, you can go to search at actually it's on my website, herbscottmusic.com, and you can listen to the whole track there. I'm not sure if I answered your whole question.
No, you did. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Good luck, and good luck to everyone. It was really a wonderful presentation by everyone, and I want to thank you for your support of this music that we all love and love so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure our comments okay. Okay.
As long as they're kind and educational.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. My name is Ben Schultz. So my wife is a cinematographer, and there's one specific line item that I did want to address, and that was the camera rental fee versus the the producer fee and whatever that is. There are many talented cinematographers, videographers, of that type that don't own their own cameras. We happen to own our own cameras, but that's like a $10,000 investment every 3-4 years. I mean, with the technology and everything like that, there's upkeep. So in that segment of the industry, and I'm just, I kind of peripherally see it, it's very important to delineate between your rental fee and what you're actually paying for that person, because a lot of these people don't own the quality of camera that's necessary for a professional produced video, and sometimes you do want that, and that can be a hefty fee. So stick to that schematic that you had up there is great, and definitely try to separate those two, from what I've seen.
Right. Thank you. I will add. I fully agree. An interesting question we ask still with every video here is, can we make it on an iPhone? Because sometimes the answer is stylistically and for other reasons, yes. And so it's absolutely true. A certain quality level requires a costly camera purchase or rental. But I don't want that to discourage you from the notion of video, because there are at times, many times, sometimes, that other option. Okay, this is going to be our last question or comment, and then we're going to bring our judges back.
My name is Matt Stoling. I'm a violinist from Berkeley, California. And I was just wondering, what's your strategy? We haven't talked much about this, but after the video's out, what's your strategy in terms of getting the most out of it, in terms of getting views, getting followers, social media, and whatnot? What's your approach?
It's a great question that we're going to try to answer in 1 minute, if anybody wants to tackle it.
Push. Everywhere, every day, all the time, all social media platforms, email lists, press release, and then repeat, and then just keep doing that.
Great. Anyone else want to comment?
Exactly that. I think what you said, using your fans, asking if your fellow musicians would use their fan bases, but then reaching out to places where your fans are already, be that the forums that are dedicated to the kind of music you play or to the animation you play. What is the topic? Is it New York City centric? in my case, imagery, I'll go there as well. So try to be creative into going into communities and places where your fans are already, plus what you said.
Great.
I think what they were saying also, I forget who said it, but if you post it on YouTube or connect it, like I have them on my website, but it's also got that little thing that will take you to, it's really up on YouTube. Put a lot of different tags on it, as they said, so that if somebody Googles, saxophone, or they Google blue, it's like you come up, and I think that's one way. But also, they also talk about trying to share it, like on your friend's site, and try to make connections with people that I'll share yours, you share mine, or I'll tag you, or that kind of thing really helps.
Yeah, something, I believe it was Michaela who mentioned it, which is not thinking of a video as one thing, right? One video could be 5 videos, right? The 15-second snippet, the 30-second snippet. I would say don't be afraid to repost even the same video. You don't post it 2 days apart. But we have a video we talk about a lot here. It was shot at a photo shoot. It's Edmar Castaneda, the harpist, and he's sort of jamming. It's not a song. Sync rights. Not an original composition or a composition. But he's really just kind of playing. We posted it 5 times before it picked up, right? And the 5th time it got 2 million views. Wow. Right, and it wasn't even the goal. We were actually promoting a Jazz Night in America episode about him and using this great video we had. But over a 2-year period, we posted that video 5 times with 5 different calls to action, 5 different descriptions. A great piece of content deserves to be seen, and just because it doesn't get all the views or everything you want the first time doesn't mean that it's dead or it's over. That it is totally okay in the right moments to repost.
Where was that posted?
The Jazzland Center Facebook page. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'm going to thank you again to our presenters. I'm going to bring the judges up, and we're going to wrap this up. Yeah. Unless you prefer. No. Yeah, go for it.
So I'll announce it, and then if you guys want to talk about why.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks to all 4 of you for presenting. I think there's one winner to these things, but I think all 4 of these ideas are really worthwhile, and you should all continue pursuing them and making things, and thanks for being here and presenting. We came to a pretty quick unanimous decision that the winner today is Joanza. I'll let you guys say a little bit more about why. I think we were all taken by the kind of like the purity of your approach and the effectiveness of what we think you can do. So.
Yes, we really thought that the approach was simple but very authentic, and we thought that it was entirely feasible within the budget.
I was looking at the other 3. I was wondering which one of those 3 was going to come up and get. And then you said my name. I mean, this really surprised, but I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. I'm glad I thought their presentations were excellent, and I didn't think. I mean, I'm really speechless. I can't say enough. Thank you very much.
All right, well, again, thank you to our presenters, and thank you to our judges, Lydia, Michaela, and Adam. As we said, this is a pretty unique session style that we do here. Thank you all for being with us. If you have feedback, we will welcome it. We do send a survey out pretty quickly after the conference and ask for feedback about specific sessions as well as the general, so would love to hear from you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope we'll see you at the reception at 5:45 in the atrium.